What if the person you helped today was secretly deciding your future tomorrow? You've walked past them 1,000 times. The hurried stranger in the elevator, the one frantically pressing buttons, checking their watch, their entire body screaming urgency. Most of us step aside, look at our phones, pretend we don't notice their desperation. But what if that split-second decision to help changed everything? This isn't a fairy tale. This is what happened when someone chose differently. Picture this: a crowded office building, rush hour, everyone fighting for the next elevator. The doors are closing. A man sprints toward them, papers flying, tie askew, panic in his eyes. The elevator is packed. No one moves. The doors keep closing. Except one person reaches out, holds the door, makes space where there is none. "Thank you," the stranger gasps. Nothing more. Just 2 words lost in the mechanical hum of ascending floors. 6 months later, that same person who held the door receives a call that changes their life forever. The voice on the other end, the stranger from the elevator. But now, he's the CEO of a company they've been trying to reach for years. And he remembers the face of kindness when everyone else looked away. This is the invisible thread that connects our smallest actions to our biggest opportunities. You think your gestures don't matter. You think kindness is just politeness. You think helping a stranger is just good manners with no return on investment. You're wrong, dead wrong. Every interaction is a seed planted in the garden of possibility. Some grow immediately, others lie dormant for years before blooming into opportunities you never saw coming. The universe keeps score in ways you cannot imagine. Think about the last time you were running late, heart pounding, mind racing, the whole world feeling like an obstacle course designed to slow you down. Now imagine someone going out of their way to help you. How did that feel? Like finding water in a desert, like discovering humanity still exists in a world that often feels cold and transactional. That's the power you hold in your hands every single day. But here's what we tell ourselves: I'm too busy. It's not my problem. Someone else will help. These are the lies that keep us small. These are the excuses that blind us to the opportunities hidden in human connection. The man in that elevator wasn't just late for a meeting, he was late for the most important presentation of his career, the one that would determine whether his startup lived or died. Those extra 30 seconds bought him the time to compose himself, to breathe, to walk into that boardroom with confidence instead of chaos. Do you see it now? Your small act didn't just hold a door, it held open a future. And when his company succeeded, when he found himself in a position to choose partners and collaborators, whose face do you think flashed in his mind? The sea of people who looked away, or the one person who saw his humanity in that moment of need? This isn't about calculated networking. This isn't about keeping score or expecting returns. This is about understanding a fundamental truth. Kindness creates ripples that travel further than you can see. Every time you choose to help, you're writing a check on the bank of the universe. And the universe always pays its debts with interest you never calculated. If this story is speaking to you, if you're starting to see the hidden connections in your own life, hit that subscribe button. This channel exists for people who believe small acts can create big changes. The elevator story is just the beginning. Let me tell you about Sarah, an accountant who spent her lunch breaks in the same cafe every day. One afternoon, she noticed an elderly man struggling with his smartphone, trying to video call his grandchildren overseas. Most people pretended not to see. Sarah didn't. She spent 45 minutes teaching him, showing him which buttons to press, writing down instructions in large, clear letters. Missing her entire lunch break, her colleagues called her foolish. "That's not your job," they said. "You're wasting your time." 2 years passed. Sarah's company downsized. She found herself unemployed at 53, in a market that worships youth. Her confidence shattered, her savings dwindling, her applications vanishing into digital voids. Then came an email that made no sense. A job offer from a company she'd never applied to. The CEO wanted to meet her personally. She walked into that office confused until she saw him, the elderly man from the cafe. Except now, she learned who he really was, a retired tech mogul who'd built 3 successful companies. He'd been testing smartphones for a friend's startup that day. But more importantly, he'd been unwittingly testing humanity, and Sarah had passed with flying colors. "I've been watching your career," he told her. "Anyone who shows that kind of patience and kindness is exactly who I want running my foundation's finances." The salary was double what she'd lost. The purpose was everything she'd been searching for. Your kindness is never wasted. It's invested. Sometimes the returns come immediately. Sometimes they take years to mature. But they always come. Always. The universe operates on a ledger you cannot see, with a currency more valuable than money: human connection. Every act of unexpected kindness is a deposit. Every moment of chosen compassion is an investment in a future you cannot yet imagine. Stop calculating the immediate return on your kindness. Start trusting the long-term compound interest of human goodness. But what about when kindness seems to backfire? When helping someone costs you something precious? Marcus was a junior doctor, overwhelmed, overworked, running on 3 hours of sleep. During his break, he noticed a janitor collapsed in the supply closet. Protocol said to call for help and keep moving. Marcus didn't follow protocol. He spent his entire break providing emergency care, missing his chance to review for a critical evaluation that afternoon. He failed that evaluation. His supervisor was furious. His residency was put on probation. His colleagues whispered about his poor judgment. For months, Marcus questioned everything. Had his kindness been stupidity? Had he sacrificed his career for a stranger? The janitor recovered, returned to work. They never spoke about that day. Marcus assumed that was the end of the story. He was wrong. Because kindness doesn't always announce its rewards. Sometimes it works in silence, in rooms you'll never enter, in conversations you'll never hear. The janitor's daughter was a senior partner at a major medical corporation. When she heard how a young doctor had saved her father's life, risking his own career in the process, she made some calls, quiet calls, the kind that happen above the politics of hospital hierarchies. The kind that recognize that medical excellence isn't just about test scores, it's about the instinct to heal, no matter the cost. 6 months later, Marcus received an offer that made no sense. A fellowship at one of the country's most prestigious hospitals, full funding, a mentor who would become his lifelong champion. The selection committee's notes mentioned his exceptional demonstration of medical ethics under pressure. They never mentioned the janitor. They didn't need to. Right now, take a moment to think. Who could you help today? Whose day could you change with one small act? If you're feeling that pull, that possibility, hit the like button and share this video with someone who needs to hear it. Your kindness is being watched by eyes you don't see, measured by standards you don't know, rewarded by forces you don't control. The mathematics of kindness operates on principles that defy conventional logic. When you give, you don't lose, you multiply. When you help, you don't deplete, you expand. When you choose compassion over convenience, you don't waste time. You invest in a future that's being written in invisible ink. Consider the barista who remembers your name, the security guard who holds the door, the delivery person who smiles despite the rain. These aren't just workers doing jobs. These are human beings creating micro moments of connection that weave the fabric of society. And sometimes, just sometimes, those threads lead to extraordinary places. Jennifer was a corporate lawyer, brilliant but cold. Efficiency was her religion. Small talk was her enemy. Until the day her car broke down in a rough neighborhood, her phone was dead. The nearest shop was closed. Fear crept in as darkness fell. A homeless woman approached. Jennifer tensed. But instead of asking for money, the woman offered her own phone, stayed with her until help arrived, shared stories that made Jennifer laugh despite her fear. When Jennifer tried to give her money, the woman refused. "Just pass it on," she said. "That's all I ask." Jennifer drove away changed, but not in the way you'd expect. She didn't quit her job to work with the homeless. She didn't have a Hollywood epiphany. She simply started seeing people, really seeing them. The security guard wasn't just a uniform anymore. The cleaning staff weren't invisible. The intern wasn't just an annoyance. Small shifts, micro kindnesses, nothing dramatic, until the day her firm's biggest client visited. A notoriously difficult billionaire who'd fired 3 law firms that year. He arrived early, agitated, ready to find fault. The receptionist was at lunch. The senior partners were in a meeting. The only person in the lobby was a junior associate Jennifer had mentored, the one she'd taught that every person matters. What happened next became firm legend. That junior associate treated the billionaire not like a VIP, but like a human being, offered him coffee, asked about his flight, listened to his concerns without judgment. By the time the meeting started, the billionaire's mood had transformed, and when he signed the largest contract in the firm's history, he had one condition: that junior associate had to be on his team, Jennifer's team. The homeless woman's kindness had created a ripple that became a wave that became a tsunami of success. You never know which act of kindness will change everything, so why not make them all count? The skeptics are already forming their arguments. These are just coincidences, they say. Confirmation bias, they insist. For every story like this, there are thousands where kindness goes unrewarded. They're right, and they're completely missing the point. Kindness isn't a transaction. It's not a vending machine where you insert good deeds and receive success. It's something far more powerful. It's a frequency, a vibration, a way of moving through the world that attracts opportunities you couldn't have planned. Think about magnets. They don't chase metal, they create a field that draws it in. Your kindness works the same way. It doesn't guarantee specific rewards. It creates an energy that attracts possibilities, and in a world where everyone is broadcasting their own frequency, the signal of authentic kindness cuts through the noise like a beacon. David was proof, a middle manager at a failing company. Good at his job, but unremarkable. Promotions passed him by. Recognition eluded him. He could have become bitter. Instead, he became kind. Not strategically kind, not networking kind, just quietly, consistently kind. He remembered birthdays, he covered shifts without being asked, he mentored newcomers without expecting credit. When the company finally folded, David assumed he'd struggle like everyone else. But something strange happened. His phone wouldn't stop ringing, not with job offers, with something better. Former colleagues calling to say, "I'm starting something new. I need someone I can trust. I need you." Within 6 months, David had 5 offers. Not because he was the most qualified, because he was the most human. In a world of transactions, his kindness had built something priceless: trust. And trust, it turns out, is the ultimate currency in a connection economy. The kindness you show when no one is watching becomes your reputation when everyone is. The help you give when there's nothing to gain becomes your calling card when everything's at stake. The humanity you display in small moments becomes your legacy in the big ones. This is your moment. If these stories are awakening something in you, if you're realizing the power you hold in every interaction, subscribe now. Share this with someone who needs to remember that their kindness matters, because what you do next could change someone's life, including your own. Here's what happens when kindness becomes your operating system rather than your occasional software update. The world reorganizes itself around you, not immediately, not obviously, but inevitably. Emma learned this the hard way. A teacher in an underfunded school, 30 kids per class, no resources, no support. Every day felt like swimming upstream in a river of impossibility. She could have become cynical, could have done the minimum, could have counted the days until retirement. Instead, she chose radical kindness. She learned every student's name by day 2. She stayed late tutoring for free. She spent her own money on supplies. She wrote personal notes of encouragement. She saw potential where others saw problems. One student particularly challenged her. Antonio, angry, disruptive, heading nowhere fast. Everyone had written him off. Emma didn't. She discovered he loved music but had no access to instruments. So she brought her old guitar, taught him chords during lunch, gave him something to be proud of instead of angry about. Fast forward 15 years, Emma is still teaching, still underpaid, still underappreciated by the system, but at her doorstep stands a man she doesn't recognize, until he speaks. "Ms. Emma, it's Antonio. I need to tell you something. He's a successful music producer now. Not famous, but stable, creative, contributing. And he's brought something with him. A check for $100,000. For your classroom, he says. For the next kid like me who just needs someone to see them. But that's not the real gift. The real gift is what happens next." Antonio's story goes viral. Suddenly, Emma's classroom becomes a magnet for donations. Tech companies provide computers, musicians donate instruments. Her radical kindness to one angry kid creates a wave of resources that transforms not just her classroom, but her entire school. Kindness compounds, not in straight lines, but in quantum leaps. One act becomes a story becomes inspiration. Inspiration becomes transformation, and transformation becomes legacy. The universe conspires to support those who support others. This isn't mystical thinking, it's observable pattern recognition. When you operate from kindness, you activate networks you don't even know exist. You trigger algorithms of human connection that no technology can replicate. Rachel was a startup founder. Brilliant idea, no funding, 60 rejections from investors. The smart money said quit, the advisors said pivot, the metrics said fail. But Rachel had a secret weapon. She'd spent years being irrationally kind to everyone she met, not to build a network, just because it felt right. When word spread that she was struggling, something unprecedented happened. People she'd helped in passing started showing up. The developer she'd connected to a job 5 years earlier offered to code for free. The designer whose portfolio she'd promoted volunteered her services. The accountant she'd advised through a divorce managed her books for equity. An investor noticed. Not the pitch, the team. "I've never seen loyalty like this," he said. "Whatever you're building, these people believe in you. That's worth more than any business plan." He invested. Others followed, not because the idea was perfect, but because the founder had proven something invaluable. She knew how to create cultures of care. And in a world where most startups fail from human problems, not technical ones, her kindness portfolio was worth more than any cap table. The help you give creates helpers. The support you offer builds supporters. The kindness you show writes checks on an account that pays dividends in ways your spreadsheet can't calculate. This isn't karma, it's something more practical. It's the recognition that in an interconnected world, the person you lift up today might be the one who catches you tomorrow. Stop thinking of kindness as expense. Start seeing it as investment. Stop calculating immediate ROI. Start trusting long-term human equity. Stop asking, "What's in it for me?" Start discovering what's in it for all of us. But let's go deeper, beyond success stories and happy endings, into the profound truth that makes all of this possible. Kindness rewires reality itself. When you choose kindness in a moment where cruelty would be easier, you don't just change someone's day, you change the code of possibility. You prove that humans can transcend their programming. You demonstrate that choice exists even when circumstances scream otherwise. Michael was a prison guard, maximum security, the worst of the worst. Every day, surrounded by people who'd done terrible things, the job was breaking him, making him hard, making him cruel. until one incident changed everything. An inmate, convicted of horrible crimes, was denied visiting rights with his dying mother. Regulations were regulations, rules were rules. Michael could have walked away, should have walked away. Instead, he spent 3 hours on the phone, navigating bureaucracy, calling in favors, bending rules without breaking them. The inmate got 2 hours with his mother before she passed. The inmate said nothing. Michael expected nothing. But something shifted in that prison. Word spread. The guard who fought for a killer's humanity. Tensions decreased. Cooperation increased. Violence dropped. Not because Michael had gone soft, but because he'd shown that even in the hardest place, kindness was possible. 5 years later, Michael was diagnosed with cancer, aggressive, expensive. His insurance fought every treatment. His savings evaporated. He mentioned it to no one at work, but somehow the inmates knew, and something unprecedented happened. A fund appeared, anonymous donations, small amounts. From family members of inmates, from ex-convicts who'd been released, from people who'd heard the story of the guard who remembered that even the guilty were human. The fund covered his treatment. He survived. When he tried to trace the donations to thank people, he discovered something that broke him. Many came from people with almost nothing. People who could barely feed their families, but who gave anyway, because kindness creates kindness, because humanity recognizes humanity, because what we put into the world comes back transformed, but not diminished. This is the secret. The successful don't want you to know. Their biggest breaks came from their smallest kindnesses. The deal that made them rich started with the coffee they bought a stranger. The connection that changed their career began with the elevator they held. The opportunity that defined their life emerged from the kindness they showed when they had nothing to gain. But here's the deeper secret. The kindness itself is the reward. The connection is the success. The humanity is the wealth. Everything else, the money, the recognition, the opportunities, these are just symptoms of a life lived in alignment with the fundamental frequency of the universe, connection. Lisa understood this. A venture capitalist who'd made millions, worked with the brightest minds, funded the biggest dreams, but she felt empty, successful but not significant, rich but not real. Until she started an experiment. One act of unexpected kindness every day, not charity, not tax-deductible donations, real, human, inconvenient kindness. She paid for strangers' groceries. She sat with lonely people in parks. She taught English to immigrants for free. She showed up at hospitals to hold babies whose parents couldn't be there. Small acts, invisible acts. Acts that would never make her LinkedIn profile, but something happened. Her business exploded, not because of the kindness, despite it. She was spending less time networking, less time strategizing, less time optimizing. Yet deals found her. Opportunities chased her. The right people appeared at the right moments. Her partners called it luck. Her competitors called it unfair. Lisa knew better. When you align with kindness, you align with the operating system of the universe. You stop swimming against the current of human nature and start flowing with it. You stop forcing connections and start attracting them. You stop chasing success and start embodying it, because success isn't what you achieve, it's who you become. And who you become is determined by how you treat people when no one is watching. Chapter 11. As we near the end of this journey, let me leave you with the most important truth. Every single person you meet is fighting a battle you know nothing about. Every single interaction is an opportunity to be someone's reason to believe in humanity again. Every single choice to be kind is a vote for the world you want to live in. The stranger in the elevator might be deciding whether life is worth living. Your held door might be their sign to hold on. The colleague struggling with technology might be drowning in loneliness. Your patience might be their lifeline. The person who seems to have it all together might be falling apart in private. Your random kindness might be the glue that helps them hold on one more day. You think your kindness is small. The universe knows it's enormous. You think your gestures don't matter. The universe is keeping score. You think you're just being polite. The universe sees you writing the future, because here's what quantum physics and ancient wisdom agree on. Everything is connected. Every action creates reaction. Every kindness generates kinetic energy that must go somewhere, must become something, must eventually return to its source, transformed. The elevator you hold today opens doors you can't imagine tomorrow. The patience you show today teaches someone else to be patient when you need it most. The humanity you demonstrate today becomes the humanity that saves you when you're drowning. This isn't mysticism. This is the mathematics of meaning, the physics of purpose, the science of souls recognizing souls. Your kindness is never wasted, even when it's rejected, especially when it's unnoticed. It enters the quantum field of possibility and waits, patient, powerful, inevitable, ready to return when you least expect it, but most need it. Chapter 12. So here's your choice. You can close this video and return to a world where everything is transaction, where kindness is weakness, where helping strangers is naive. Or you can accept the truth that changes everything. Your smallest acts of kindness are writing the story of your biggest successes. That promotion you're chasing, it might come through the intern you mentored. That breakthrough you're seeking, it might arrive through the competitor you helped. That love you're longing for, it might emerge from the stranger you smiled at. That purpose you're pursuing, it's hidden in the kindness you show when no one is counting. The universe is not random, it's responsive. It responds to the frequency you broadcast. And kindness is the highest frequency available to humans. It cuts through ego. It transcends transaction. It transforms everything it touches, starting with you. Tomorrow, you'll face a choice, a door to hold or let close, a person to help or ignore, a kindness to extend or withhold. In that moment, remember, you're not just choosing an action, you're choosing a reality. You're not just helping someone else, you're programming your own future. You're not just being nice, you're being powerful. The person you help today might sign your contract tomorrow. The kindness you show today might save your life tomorrow. The humanity you demonstrate today might become your legacy forever. This is the secret of those who seem blessed, lucky, charmed. They discovered that kindness is the cheat code to the universe, that helping others is helping yourself. That the golden rule isn't just moral guidance, it's practical magic. Your kindness matters, your gestures count. Your choices echo in eternity. Now go hold that door. The universe is watching, and it always remembers. Like this video if it moved you. Subscribe if you're ready to see the connections hidden in plain sight. Share it with someone who needs to remember their power. Comment below with your own story of how a small kindness changed everything. Because this channel exists for people like you. People who understand that in a world that profits from division, kindness is the ultimate rebellion. And small acts, they're the revolution.